Welcome back to Where Owls Walk. Glyn Bob says, it's not very often I'm still angry the day after a game, but I'm raging. We were absolutely robbed. Well, here is Glyn Bob and Matt Bob and Andrew Bob, and we're going to find out just how angry they still are about that Luton game. Welcome to Where Owls Walk. It's the quickest and most compact review of all things Sheffield Wednesday on the internet. You're very welcome. Drop us a like, drop us a subscribe. I suspect this is going to be quite a heated one. Roll titles. All right, so we're going to go straight into it. We've got lots to discuss on the channel today, not least of all the two penalty shouts that went against Wednesday at the weekend. We're also going to talk about right-backs. We're going to talk about Sacktober and how secure is the manager's position. And we're going to put Andrew under the spotlight and find him a little bit more about him and his history supporting Wednesday. Right, let's go straight into it then. Matt, you're first this week. Okay, obvious question. Is that a penalty and is that a red card?
In real time for me, after watching it the first time through, I thought I could understand why it was given, is the honest answer. Okay. There's a motion from Deschamps Bernard towards the ball. His arm is away from his body. I can understand it. It took me 7 or 8 opportunities to watch it back to realise, oh, actually, he has gone with a full body motion rather than his arm being out. Apologies for not being overly dramatic. I will say this from the away end on Saturday. Mark, you couldn't see a damn thing, and we didn't actually realise anybody had been sent off until you could see. You knew the red card had come out, but you weren't sure whether it was for an argument or what had gone off. And then when Deschamps Bernard slowly trudged his way across to the tunnel on the far side of Kenilworth Road towards us, you kind of realised and you knew what was coming. I can understand why that one's been given. I'm more angry about the handball for the winner. That's the one that has really, I think, got to me as opposed to the penalty. The penalty is, sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't. However, for the winner, I think the handball was. I mean, that was the most blatant. That was the most blatant handball that was there and should have been spotted by both the referee who was in close proximity to it and the linesman who was on that side as well, and in line with play as well. And neither one of them flagged for it.
Absolutely, because he can't control that ball as it comes in if he doesn't use the side of his arm, and actually it's further down his arm than the actual sending off one was. Right, Glenn, have you calmed down yet from your tweet we read out earlier?
No, it's only Monday, so I'm still simmering a little bit, but. No, I agree. I agree with what Matt's just said. The Luton fans have said, we were the better side. The penalty, we had more than one, didn't we? Where Windass got brought down in the box. I mean, I honestly think if that had gone in the back of the net, it'd have blown for a penalty. We're absolutely getting robbed from the officials, and it's really bad, when you look back at the previous games and stuff. The ball goes out of the side of the linesman's feet, and he's waiting for the referee to tell him whether it's a throw-in and which way it's going to be a throw-in. The officiating is really, really bad. I think there's going to be a time when fans react, and we need to be getting onto kind of your Rick Parry of this world, and finding some level ground on the officials. And I keep seeing tweets about VAR. Oh, let's get VAR in the Championship, but no, that's just passing the buck. Let's get a good standard of refereeing. A fair shout at the game, because the last 2 games the officiating's ruined and dropped us 6 points. And I'm not angry because we've lost the 6 points. It is what it is. I'm a Wednesday fan. I'm used to dropping points, but when it comes to poor decisions and the traffic seems to be just going in one direction, it's always against us, and that for me don't seem any coincidence. That it's happening far too often. So we lost the game. I'm angry about that, but I'm more angry in the manner that we lost the game and why we lost the game. And like I say, the tweets from the Leeds fans, some of the Sheffield United fans, even even the Luton commentators on the when I watched it back, they they agreed. It was never a penalty. But we are where we are. Again, 6 points. 6 points. 5 points. We got a draw, but for me, 6 points dropped.
It'll hurt even more when we remember that you didn't get a single penalty awarded to you last season.
No.
So we are now nearly season
over,
7
sorry,
games.
Mark, it's over 500 days since Sheffield Wednesday have had a league
We've
penalty.
broke the record. We've broke the record, haven't we? It's what we do. We break records everywhere we go. But it's not. It's like I say. It's getting beyond the joke, Mark, and it's about time. Emails started dropping in Rick Parry's inbox, I think, and I'm sure it's not just a Wednesday thing either.
All right. We will discuss the much improved performance in a second, but I can tell Andrew has come dressed for the occasion to tell us what he thinks of the refereeing performance. Go on then.
I don't know how I held my breath back for this long. Gavin Ward is a total clown, which is why I'm wearing this. A total clown. Why he was in charge is beyond belief, beggars belief. The first half, they were kicking out players black and blue, and not a single player gets booked from their side. The second half, we get players booked, and even a sending off, which never was. I'm absolutely furious. Absolutely. At the end of the day, he's cost us points there. We were on top. We were 1-0 up. I was happy. I thought my 1-0 scoreline prediction was going to come true. I was happy. A brilliant goal by Barry Bannan. We deserved to win that game. We won that game. We were winning and we were going to get 3 points. What happens? It's ruined in a split of a second with this ridiculous decision. He was banging. I think the crowd were putting pressure on him. The home crowd behind that goal, putting pressure on him all the time. And I think they were sort of, asking for this, asking for that. And I think it was pressurised into making that decision, which was costly for us. We're down to 10 men. And then on top of that, to add fuel to the fire, that second goal, again, disgusting with the handball in the build-up. It's cost us dearly. I'm absolutely incensed here. I really am. And bad refereeing these last 2 games have cost us 5 points. I put this all over social media. I'm all over it like a rash. We've only got 1 point when we should have had 6. And I am absolutely annoyed, to say the least. And luckily this referee doesn't live anywhere near me, or else we'd be paying him a visit.
Okay. I think Danny Roll could help himself a bit more and just get a bit more angry. He seems very nice on the two sides.
He was very gentlemanly.
He was very gentlemanly, but he just needs to flip and lose it, doesn't he? He needs to get in the face of some of these officials. It's not that we would have ever encouraged that, of course, but absolutely. Okay, let's look at some more. The performance, we won't talk about the referees anymore. There's a few there. Charlie says the performance was good against a strong team at home. It's extremely frustrating when we should have won again, didn't take our chances, and then the ref made that decision. However, it gives me hope for the season overall. Depressing right now, but I think this is our level, 18th to 12th, which I think is something all of you said a couple of weeks ago. Matt, the overall performance, you were by far the better side. Luton fans, we've already heard from them saying for 70 minutes they weren't in the game at all. Were you encouraged by what you saw?
Yeah, for 78 minutes and for 94 minutes against QPR, we were the better side in both of those games. And it is, as has been mentioned by the chaps here, it is incredibly frustrating to only take 1 point from the 6 available, especially given the run of fixtures that we have. We've had Luton, who I would suggest and argue that they're in a false position. We've got league leaders West Brom coming to Hillsborough on the weekend. We then go to Bristol City away, which is always a perennial mid-table team who appear to, on those Wednesday nights, either lose 5-0 or win 5-0. And then we go to Coventry away. And then we've got Burnley as well coming up. So it doesn't get easier. Yeah, I am incredibly frustrated. But again, I think I am pleased to hear that the Luton fans in that respect have passed on the messages that were very similar to the ones that were being uttered by the fans coming out of Kenilworth Road on Saturday. Because for 78 minutes, they were fresh out of ideas. I know some media outlets have poised the idea that the Luton substitutes changed the game. It's not true. The substitutes came on, they did a little bit, but actually they were still fresh out of ideas. I suppose my only complaint about it was in the 5 to 10 minutes before the goal was conceded, we started giving away free kicks in really dangerous areas. And that is something that needs to be looked at, because with Alfie Doherty, who Luton had, if you give him opportunities to get a cross in, like he did for the equaliser, one of those is going to hit the mark. And you are going to be under pressure. And I think it's those types of errors and those mistakes that we mentioned last week against QPR in terms of Max Lowe giving away the foul. We're giving away fouls in dangerous areas where we can't. We've spoken at length on this pod about it before, Mark. We can't defend set piece and we don't score from them. So realistically, it is a problem. But overall, for 78 minutes, we were outstanding. And even with 10 men, we still had 2 opportunities to go and nick a point there at the end. But yeah, I can't be critical of it. It was just a gutting result in the end.
Glyn, I'll share this one with you. Dare I? Oh, go on, I will. Andy says, same old. I'm sick of blaming officials. Take your chances and we won't need to rely on being given penalties. Don't throw your arm at the ball on the line. The ref won't make a decision. It's as if though none of them wanted to win a game. There was a few others saying, look, we can't moan about bad luck. We make our own luck in this game. Just get on with it. How do you respond to that, Glyn?
I agree in just getting on with it. And again, we're not relying on decisions, are we? But the decisions are always going against us. That's the difference. But the performance in itself this week was, for me, outstanding. We were better than we were against Plymouth, playing a better team than Plymouth. I don't know if Danny Rowe listens to this pod, but we were absolutely, we were shooting from range. Kabaki nearly put one in the top bins. We had a few fizz past the post, and we were mixing it up a little bit. We were trying to test the keeper and also trying to keep it the Danny Rowe way and keeping everything in perfection as well. So it keeps them guessing. So it was good to see the performance in itself, but. Back to the tweets and the posts online. It's easy for people to post online, isn't it? That don't attend the games or don't particularly watch the games or aren't close to it. That some of the fans that are commenting, even coming out, like you say, Kenilworth Road or online. If you're a football fan, you understand the game, and if the better side won or the better side lost, you're quite open and to say the fact that that's what's happened. We were just beat on the day, but when all the decisions are going against you, and you go into the games and you can see it week in week out, then you've got grounds to say that. So I don't know if these guys go or don't go or watch or don't watch the games, but to some of the comments online are just pure stupid, to be honest. And you're always going to get that because it gives people a platform, doesn't it? But
let's be clear about one thing here. Let's be clear about one thing. If we had VAR in the Championship, those goals would not have been given. The equalised QPR would have been ruled out. The penalty wouldn't have been given, and the second goal for Luton today wouldn't. Yeah,
but we haven't.
I'm not saying VAR is definitely the right way to go always, but what we have, there's a little guy in that little squad of officials there called the fourth match official. Why don't you have a pitch side monitor where the fourth match official is standing there watching the game from there, and he can see clearly what's going on, and he can either agree or disagree with the referee's decision, or let him know that he's seen it clearly on the one monitor, and that whether the penalty stands or it doesn't stand, or a goal stands or it doesn't stand. That's what you need. Use the extra technology, because we can't rely on this man in the middle who's getting it wrong far too often.
Okay. One more point which was being made about Beadle. Online, there's people making out for the second week running. He hasn't come for crosses when you perhaps would expect your goalkeeper to. There's a tweet here from the Cough. Get pelters for this, but for the second week running, I've wanted Beadle to come for a cross, and then we've conceded. Matt, is there anything in your doubt bag that says Beadle could have done a bit better for some of these that you've seen go past your line?
Deal with the 2 that were conceded on Saturday. He's actually the player who's behind Deshaun Bernard. Whether he actually makes the save and manages to palm it around the post, I'm not sure, but he is there. Deshaun Bernard actually gets in his way from a relatively easy catch and a save on the first one, and that comes from obviously a will to try and defend your goal, which I don't think any Sheffield Wednesday fan is ever going to say we don't want to see players doing that. But again, it's a little bit harem-scarem. The second one actually again comes from Mark McGuinness getting in the way of it, and it actually hits Mark McGuinness's arm, then goes to Carlton Morris, hits Carlton Morris's arm, and then goes into the back of the net. If Mark McGuinness doesn't try and launch himself out of the way and it actually ends up hitting him, Beadle makes the save again. So again, whilst I understand in principle the stuff surrounding potentially QPR last week, because QPR was loaded, ready to go, and then shot out of a gun and just jumped on like a kid in a pylon in a playground. However, again, he's a kid. He is going to make mistakes, and we saw at the start of this season last year. I know, Andrew, you're a big fan of Cameron Dawson, and I appreciate and I think I applaud everything that he did for the club. But I don't think anybody can argue that when James Beadle came in, our goalkeeping department significantly improved. Up till that point in the 78th minute, when the game turned, James Beadle had been excellent in the game. It's coming for crosses. I would argue it was the land of giants that with Luton, in terms of Adebayo, in terms of McGuinness, in terms of Carlton Morris. Personally, I'd rather not see my keeper trying to fly into that. I'd rather see my keeper think, well, I'll let my centre halves deal with it, because actually his main strength, James Beadle, is his reactionary saves and his ability to make those saves and react at quick speed. So no, for me, I think it's, again, Sheffield Wednesday fans currently are clutching at every straw going to try and kind of understand why we haven't been able to hit the heights of Plymouth in the first game. And actually there needs to be again, this is quite a boring response, but there needs to be a level of common sense that's brought to it where we've played a lot of teams who you would expect to be in and around the playoffs to begin with. The run will ease up. And if we continue to play like we did against QPR, against Luton, we will pick up more points than we dropped this season.
Absolutely. And if Bannan keeps on scoring goals like he has been doing, then he's gonna have his own DVD coming out at the end of the year, isn't he? Okay. All right, we will leave Luton aside then. You'll be glad to hear. Let's have a look at right backs. We've done goalkeepers, we've done central defenders, we've done left backs. So let's complete the set now, Glyn, if that's all right. We'll start with you on this one. This is what transfermarket.com say. Now, I know there's a lot of players here which won't feature in that position at all this season, but according to transfermarket.com, you have. I mean, for me, I think any player should be able to play right back, but I'm old school. Glyn, is this a area which you are more than suitably adjusted to cope with?
I mean, look at that lineup, more. You know, it's great, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like, from the finances that we've got and you know what Danny Rose had to work with. If you look at that and you put that in any top end championship team, they'd be more than happy with that for options available at the back, definitely. Jan Valery, you know, is new to the team. Looks like he's been with the team season. You know, he looks like a seasoned pro in the championship. Paul Valentin, we spoke about him last week. You know, I understand why he only comes in as a substitute, but when he does, if he fills the gap, it's like he's never been. Absolute class. Dom, you know, he'll be back soon. They're all. I'm more than happy. Danny Rowe wants two players per position. He's got more than that within that list.
Okay. Well, now that we've finished all our defensive backline, I'm going to ask each of you for a number from 1 to 10 of how strong you think it is. Forget your results so far, forget your position in the table. On paper, now that you've seen your new players, you've seen your loan signings, we've seen most of the players which are going to make up your season. Matt, 1 to 10, how strong are Wednesday defensively?
Can I just ask very quickly, Mark, are we including the goalkeeper in this back line?
And the goalkeeper in this, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I would say 7. I think it's our real area of strength within the squad and the one which I think most Sheffield Wednesday fans would be happiest with.
Okay. Andrew?
Yeah, I can argue with that. 7's a reasonable figure. Yeah.
Glyn?
8, yeah, absolutely. Said pre-season, you know, defensively sound. We'll look good. We're just, you know, it's going to click. It's definitely going to click.
Okay. If you can advance that, drop us a comment below. Thank you for that. Each week we want to find out a little bit more about you and your history with Wednesday and how it all started. This week we'll start with Andrew, given you're the longest member of this particular pod. So Glyn, don't go too far. We'll drop you out for a second, and you too, Matt, you can just stay there for a second. Andrew, quick fire questions, if that's okay, with some nice cheesy game show music in the background. Let's go. How old were you when you attended your first Sheffield Wednesday game?
First game was at Stamford Bridge, Chelsea v Sheffield Wednesday. I was just 13.
Okay. Scoreline, do you remember the score?
It was 1-0. Bobby Tamlin scored for them after 25 minutes. Beat Ron with the 25-yarder, which beat our goalkeeper Ron Springer at the time. But first game at Hillsborough was 3rd of January 1970, the FA Cup. We beat West Bromwich 2-1.
Well,
Who's your
favourite player growing up?
At that time, Jack Whittam and Tommy Craig, the two of them, brilliant players.
All right. What's your favourite away day?
Away day has to be. Oh gosh, you put me on the spot. That was very quick. Probably seeing us win at Anfield and seeing us win at Old Trafford, both great in the top division. Liverpool 2-0. Imre Varadi got a brilliant goal where he went round Groblar. Groblar went walkabout and Varadi put it in for an acute angle, and also beating United away 2-1 as well. Two massive wins at that time.
Okay. 3 teams you dislike the most are?
Well, teams I like to see suffer most of all. ABC, of course, anyone but Chelsea. Chelsea are number 1, and then probably number 2 has got to be our city rivals, Sheffield United. Like to see them suffer, and then number 3 would actually be Spurs.
Oh, fair enough. And if Sheffield Wednesday went bust tomorrow, who would you support?
Wednesday didn't exist.
Yeah.
Probably my second favourite name team back in the days when I was a small boy was actually Aston Villa, because I just love the name Sheffield Wednesday. The reason I support them is that I'm a West Londoner. They were my Subbuteo team playing against my 8 years older brother Nottingham Forest team. So we had that from the word go.
Okay.
Back in the 60s.
And finally, what's the best ever Sheffield Wednesday game you've been to live that will stay with you forever?
Well, obviously seeing us win at Wembley has got to be it. We were beating Man United in the League Cup final 1991, 1-0, John Sheridan, a cracking goal. Now, I will put it joint best with it for atmosphere, beating Sheffield United 2-1 in the semi-finals in the FA Cup in 1993, and Chris Waddle's amazing free kick goal as well. Double whammy.
Okay, right. Thank you, Andrew, for that. Matt, you're up next week. The similar kind of thing. We'll find out more about you. Thank you very much, you four. And if you haven't yet subscribed to Where Owls Walk, please do so. We know there's hours and hours of other podcasts you can listen to on Sheffield Wednesday, but this is the one that does it in 20 minutes flat with a guy wearing a clown wig on his head. What more do you want?
Saturday, score predictions?
Oh, go on quickly.
2-1, the same as it was in the FA Cup third round, the first time I ever saw us play against them. Get in there, come on.
You know they haven't.
End their unbeaten record.
I was going to say, you do know they haven't lost yet.
I know.
This season.
I know.
Okay.
I know.
Okay. All right. Cheers, Andrew. Cheers, Matt. Cheers, Glenn.
Matt and Glenn agree.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you for watching. We'll see you next week.